And we're back. Hello, everyone. I did say as well, if in case anyone was concerned that Winky's excellent prepare shot roll, the scan roll, is going to go to waste. It won't go to waste. We'll still make sure it has some impact.
Winky's going to be walking around like this, just holding the bow.
Yeah, absolutely. With this in mind, I take it we are diving swiftly towards the entrance. Yeah. So you scramble through the gap in the palisade that the black walls have wrenched apart, and ahead of you, you can see the jail yard, and there is a sight you would not wish to have seen. Archet as a whole seems to be aflame. Just all the large buildings are roaring with fire, smoke billowing into the sky. Ahead of you is the jail yard, and the old iron gate that was just swinging slightly open in the breeze when you were in town has been slammed shut and looks to maybe have been locked. In the center of the jail yard are the stocks, which have been wrecked and tipped over to one side, and you can see the two Blackwolves who dashed in ahead, and Otto, the brigand who was locked in the stocks, are there kicking at what seems to be the unconscious form of Ned Pruner, the jailer on the ground. John seems to be in no mood to discuss this with Otto and is charging forwards. You can get another. These ones are a bit more aware, so you can definitely get a volley off before you attack, and although you can definitely have grabbed the spear from where it fell, you can definitely get an attack in if you want as you charge forwards.
If I've been swapping weapons and stuff, is that all right to still do?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine between combats and stuff. I think that's absolutely fine. Yeah, you've got your blade sheath, and you can be pacing forward and firing your bow and then sling it or drop it and charge for it. I think that's fine. But Winky first, I think. Do we want to start with a volley shot?
Let's give it a go. And I've worked out if I roll average, then I just make it.
Well, so that's maybe affected by who you're shooting at. Are you shooting at Otto or one of the two kind of anonymous Blackwolves? Because I think we do have slightly different target numbers.
I will probably go for. You said that Otto was kicking Ned on the ground.
Yeah, well, they all are, but yeah.
Okay.
Otto is clearly the ringleader of the three, and he's howling.
I'll go for Otto. Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
Well, that target number is just a +1 then to him.
+1. Okay. I make it.
Hey, awesome.
Now I did get a Tengwa, and also my bow has the keen property, which means that I get a piercing blow on a 9. I rolled an 8 on my feet dice.
You can absolutely try for a piercing blow then.
Yes, please.
Well, I mean, not try. You will get a piercing blow.
Yeah.
And now basically Otto needs to roll his armor. What's the what's it called? Injury? What's the injury on your bow?
The injury is a 14.
Okay. Seeing the kindly Ned, who was so generous and welcoming to you all on the ground, seeing Otto cheer and howl on his fellow Blackwolves as they kick his form on the ground, drives Winky clearly into a state of zen fury. As the others of you either fire off your bows or throw your spears and charge down, an arrow wings past you. Otto kind of turns as everyone approaches and just raises to point at the group running towards and go, "Ah!" And then the arrow just transfixes him through the throat, and he tumbles backwards to the ground, attempts to pick himself up on shaking arms for a moment, and then collapses dead on the jail yard floor.
Take that, you ruffian.
So How
Cool.
else? How else we doing? Let's have the bow shot from Ingrid as well, shall we?
Just remembering that Winky is just like a grandma hobbit and then saying, take that, you
Yeah,
ruffian, after
I've
shooting
worked
an arrow
out
in the
that
neck.
in human years, she's roughly 68.
Nice. Yeah, Ingrid. There's no the other black walls are just normal black walls, so there's no like adjustment to the target number.
Yeah, that's a hit with 17. No Tenguars or Gandalfs or anything, though.
No 10 on the feat dice or anything. No, then what is your bow's damage, please?
4.
Okay, your arrow speeds through the air and the feathered shaft appears in the upper arm of one of the Blackwolds, who gives a kind of howl and clutches at his arm and staggers backwards a bit. Otho, are you throwing your spear?
Yep, I will also attempt to throw my spear at the other one. Let's see how that goes. Oh, no. Terrible roll. 5.
Now, your spear flashes through the air but doesn't manage to catch one of them. So, what stances are we taking, folks?
Forward.
Can we only see these two at the moment?
Yeah, you can only see those two there. You can see that locked gate behind. And you know what? Being as you're asking that, Otho, I will say that you can see amongst the blur of smoke that's pervading everything around, you can see like a human form at that gate kind of rattling it and trying to get through.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I guess we can't see who that is at this point anyway. So either way, I'm going to go in forward just because I was wondering about whether we were likely to be attacked by other people.
Sure. You don't think so. The jail yard seems pretty sealed off apart from that. Yeah. How about you, Herb?
I think also forward.
And do you have any score in battle?
I have 1.
Okay, in that case, we will swap Herb and Otho around. And I'm assuming Winky is rearward.
Rearward, yes, please.
It would. Okay, and I can remove the spiders off that.
I think Winky can retire at this point, honestly.
Yeah, one shot Otto the Brigand. Who can claim to a task as mighty as that? So Ingrid, I take it maybe we're charging the Blackwold you've already wounded with your arrow.
Yeah, 100%. I won't go for hope or anything this time, though.
So it's just a flat target number. Don't forget your extra die for being forward.
Oh, yes. That's 39. Just missed by 1, 14.
Clearly, the Blackwold is wary of you, having already been pierced by one of your arrows, and kind of tries desperately to scamper backwards out of the range of your sword. Herb, are you going for the uninjured one or the one that Ingrid has already pierced with an arrow?
I'll go for the pierced individual.
Okay. Then that is just a flat roll, friend, with an extra die for your forward stance.
I got 29 with 3 Tenguars.
3 Tenguars. Good lord. I'd say that will just about do it. As the Blackwold kind of scampers backwards away from Ingrid, you take just a few paces round to the right as you come in out of his view, a great thrust of your spear, and he just gives a kind of noise and bashes against a wall with the force of your blow and topples to the ground dead. Otho.
I mean, there's not much choice now.
Final Blackwold, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you all note how unusual it is that these men are fighting to the death rather than giving up.
Like this last one is still in combat and hasn't just broken.
Yeah.
It's not worth spending hope, actually, because there's like one of them left now. Well, I'll fail now, I said that.
Just kind of one shot, you know.
Yep. You can always miss every shot.
Yeah, 17 exactly, although I got no interesting rolls extra.
And do you need 17? We don't know.
That's dead on, sorry.
Okay. Then no extra stuff. How much damage do you have on your axe? Right?
5.
You deal the Blackwold a grievous blow, but again, he doesn't seem to be about to give up in any way. He's just kind of desperately backpedaling away from you, like stabbing out with his knife, almost giving animal-like noises as he does so. Winky, do you want to make it for 2, or are you preparing that shot?
I mean, there's very little chance that I'm going to make it without preparing a shot.
It's true.
So
I would say I won't carry forward every prepared shot because I think that becomes weirdly OP.
I assume, yeah.
The last one was good though. So.
You could check Ned on the floor if you want to do something immediately.
Well, it depends if you guys moved away from him yet.
The Blackwall is definitely still close enough that if they, for some reason, wanted to stab the Hobbit kneeling over Ned, then they probably could do. So it's definitely not a safe area yet.
In which case, I am going to just prepare a shot. I'm going to be boring. I'll go for preparing a shot.
Sure, absolutely. Make that scan roll then, please.
I won't spend a hope on this one.
Seems a bit OTT, doesn't it?
Yeah. Which means I definitely don't make it with a 5. That's
no, definitely not.
So that's fine.
You probably won't need to take the shot anyway.
That's what I was thinking. So it's fine.
Well, the Blackwold is definitely going to go for Otho because Otho's the only one engaging him. What's your parry?
19.
19. Very unlikely.
I'm the tanky hobbit. That's
why you're forward. You're forward. So
he gets an extra dice. Yeah,
gets an extra die at least. Nope. That knife swipes around. You know, he's clearly used to fighting taller people, and the knife is just like over your head. Ingrid. Actually, sorry. You know what? John's also here, as in John Brackenbrook, not John of Telling Tales fame. And I feel like he hasn't done anything else yet. And Otho, the Blackwold is coming at you with the knife, and you're easily kind of moving it aside. And then there's like an arrow slams into the Blackwold's chest, and he looks down, kind of surprised at this, that this possibly could have occurred before he topples over dead. And John is stood next to you, Winky, kind of like just releasing the bowstring because it's 3 damage. So we'll just cross that Blackwold off. Ned is kind of faintly moving on the ground over near the iron gate. You can hear a familiar woman's voice going, "Ned, Ned," and rattling at the gate.
Since I spotted her, I will immediately go to try and get her to this place if I can open the gate from here.
Yeah, and I'm going to rush to inspect Ned and see if anything could be done for healing.
Can I give him a bit of my liquor that infuses strength?
Sure. So it sounds to me like Ingrid and Winky are seeing to Ned on the ground. Otho is going over to the gate. What's Herb doing?
So I want to survey the scene, like the chaos, and see if I can spot my son anywhere. Okay. I'm just going to look around for Blackwalls.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a real quick answer on that. You can't see any other Blackwalls or anyone, but because the smoke is billowing through the streets that you can see through the iron gate, you can barely see the form of Peg at the gate. So
sure. So I'll look fruitlessly around a bit.
Absolutely. Winky and Ingrid, you are knelt over Ned. He does very much not look in a good way. As you kneel over him for the first time, Winky, you see him kind of like he's just blinking to try and hold on to his consciousness, and you just hear him say, "So cold, can't move."
Okay, so Winky's just going to like support his head and just say, "That's all right, just stay still, we're going to have a look at you." And then, like, I'm assuming his wounds look pretty bad.
His wounds, he looks to have been struck multiple times, and his, without, it's not very Lord of the Rings, but he's been kicked in the head a lot. There's a lot of blood and a lot of bruising. He blinks his eyes a bit and sort of focuses on you and Ingrid, and says that your friends, Your friends are close by. They escaped the slaughter at the Badger. You can help him. The Blackwolves. He kind of reaches out, winking, sort of grasps, not kind of aggressively, but very firmly, kind of grasps your collar at the side to just try and like hold on to you and keep going a moment. The Blackwolves. I saw something in the flames. Go after them. Save Peg. Where are you, Peg?
She's just here. Just stay still.
He's gone.
Okay.
He's gone.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'll like close his eyes and then I'll look over towards Peg as Otho managed to get that gate open yet.
Yeah, Otho, the gate is has been wrapped around with a thick rope to seal it. But you managed to kind of work the knot and get it out. As you do so, kind of Peg doesn't kind of see you essentially and just dashes through the jail yard and just crumples down at the side of Ned and just she is making a wailing noise. It's not, it's not language. It barely even sounds human in her distress, and then starts muttering things kind of under her breath as she weeps. What have they done to you, Ned? What have they done to you?
Okay. Yeah, I'll take Ned's hand from where it was next to my collar and just like put it on her hand and then like step away.
John kind of like stands at the back of you and is kind of watching Peg and Ned, and just sort of reaches out and puts a hand on the back of Ingrid and Winky and says, This has to end now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ned said that we need to follow them in, so let's get going.
He dashes forwards kind of through the iron gate. He says, "Go on, go forward. I'll tie the gate shut so they can't get at Peg."
Just stop running. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. That's the jail yard gate leading out into Archet. As for what you see when you emerge out in front of Archet, is the first thing you see as you come in is the marketplace, the place you are all going to retreat to. The marketplace is not in a good state. There are a few bodies scattered along the ground, and there is a raging fire in almost all the buildings around. To the left of you is a flaming, collapsed mass of wreckage where one of the buildings is toppled down. It is completely barring your entry to your progress towards the Mad Badger. The only way to get round to the inn is to basically circle round Archet, go forward through to where the crafting stalls are, then round to the gate and round to where the Mad Badger is, and hope that the barricade they were building there is no longer there, so you can get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that. Get running.
Absolutely. You start moving forward. As you do so, you hear kind of some footsteps behind you, and coming through the smoke is John, who shouts to you over the roar of the flames. "Those black-hearted fiends have laid waste to our town. I hope we are not too late." He joins you as you run forwards. All around, every few feet or so is a body that you have to either run around or leap over on the ground. Some of them Blackwolves, some of them townsfolk. You emerge out into what looks like that's the view towards the Badger. There we go, with the flaming wreckage barring your way. And then round here is the crafting halls, again on fire, with those stables where the crafters are working, now empty and covered in like the wreckage of the battle. Ahead of you, in the standing in front of the crafting halls, lowering his axe, is Atlee Spiderbane, who is standing over 4 or 5 Blackwolves scattered on the ground around him. He's heaving in great, huge breaths and looks to be covered in various small wounds. and he just kind of turns round to you and says, "I'm sorry, I couldn't hold the palisade."
You did your best.
At such a cost.
Where are they? We have to go after them.
I think I heard your father over by the tavern. We should run and see what we can do.
Let's go.
Does he look in a fit state to join us, or should we?
He looks battered, but he's certainly standing, and he has his axe in his hands. And you suspect, even from your brief time with him, that is all it will take for Atlee Spiderbane to join the fight.
I wasn't planning on telling him otherwise.
He, the group of you together with John and Atlee, you charge towards the gate, and then round to face where the Mad Badger is or was. You have a shot of the gate raging in fire there. You can see that just past the fire that's claiming the gate, you can see where some town guards are still struggling with Blackwolds, but there seems kind of no way to go through the raging flames to help them. And looking round to the other side, you see that still standing by the wreckage of the Mad Badger and that barricade, surrounded by the corpses of Blackwolds, guards and townsfolk, is Captain Brackenbrook. Almost looks exhausted on his feet. Behind him is Amdir, slumped to his knees, seemingly not aware of anything around him, but still lightly holding his blade in one hand. There is a Blackwold next to him that seems to have been struck down with it, and the two hobbits who look defiant but terrified.
Let's
Rush over.
go and brush their aid.
Yeah.
Captain Brackenbrook kind of looks round in a daze towards you, and his eyes widen as he recognizes his son, and he says, I grow weary from the fight. Has Archit fallen? I've been such a fool.
It's not fallen yet while we still stand.
Yes. I can guard the little ones and your injured friend, but I think you must stand and keep the attackers at bay as much as you can. He kind of hefts his shield and his sword, and he's definitely holding his ground, but he looks on the verge of collapse. Is
it obvious from here which way we need to go to carry on the fight?
The fight is happening. You can wheel round and look and see all the Blackwolves here seem to be dead, but they are evidently still fighting outside. You can hear the conflict. And as you wheel round to look, you see figures moving towards the flames of the gate, and moving towards the like patches of flame between where you've kind of come through, partly after there was a crack and timbers and stone have collapsed on either side, and there are just pools of flame between you and the gate. But you see 3 figures moving away from the combat at the gate, and as you watch, they stalk through the fire at the gate. You can't quite see how, and then as they're approaching a pool of flame closer to you, as they take steps towards it, the flames die and start to roll back to either side as the 3 figures stalk towards you. The one in the center, it is Calder Cobb, and flanked on either side by 2 nightmarish hooded figures like the Black Rider you saw, but these are wearing cloaks of crimson that flutter and shift in the air coming off the flames around them.
These are the center of the storm.
Can we fire at them?
Yeah. Are they coming directly towards us?
Well, they are coming directly towards you, and the fires near you are peeling apart for them to make their way through them. And what I would like, please, is for... Ooh, can anyone remember how I did it with the Black Rider offhand? Did I ask for any rolls or anything like that?
Yeah, we rolled something for dread. Was it something against our hope?
Valor, I think. I think you rolled Valor. Okay. Can everyone please give me a Valor roll? That will just about do.
So everyone has got 1 in that, correct? I think.
Probably, yeah.
Can we use hope to roll this on it?
Yeah, I think so.
I will.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remind me what's our number to beat on the Valor roll?
Oh, that's a good. Yeah,
It's
that's
in your heart column.
It's your heart.
Yeah, it's your heart target. Yeah.
I failed.
Oh, 11. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I failed as well. I only got a 10.
Ah, damn it. I got a 10 on my feat dice, but still only a 13 total, which is a fail.
There we go. Don't be alarmed by this. It's a hard roll to make at this stage in your hero careers. All 4 of you back off. You feel the same waves of cold dread on you that you had when you heard the howl and shriek of the Dark Rider, and icy fingers seem to envelop your face and down your spine as you unconsciously, unwillingly back away from the 2 hooded figures, now making their way through the fire alongside Calder Cobb. They emerge out into the area around the Mad Badger. Looking around you, you can see that the 2 hobbits are now thoroughly cowering, just kind of like backing away. Amdir doesn't seem aware of anything that's happening. His head is kind of lolling back and his eyes are almost rolled up into his head. Captain Brackenbrook is sort of holding firm, but you can see his trembling hands and arms as he attempts to hold the sword and the shield up ahead of him. And John as well is kind of backing away with you, as is Atlee, kind of like all of you like holding your weapons ready, but kind of desperate to be away from these creatures. As they advance, they come to a halt. Calder Cobb is between them with a sick smile on his face. And Captain Brackenbrook just looks at him and says, "What have you done, Calder Cobb? What have you become?" Calder shrugs with that smirk and says, "You've always been blind where I am concerned, Captain, but perhaps you begin to understand me." As he takes a slight step forward, and then a echoing, whispering voice comes from beneath one of the hoods to say, "Enough talk. Come with us, Dunedain." Amdir starts moving. With purpose, he reels up to his feet. His head rolls forwards, his eyes open, and they have changed. They seem almost translucent and with a faint glowing whiteness. And it may be your imaginations, but you feel like his skin and his flesh looks unreal to you, as if it sits halfway between one world and another. And he opens his mouth. "Yes." And starts walking forwards. It does not matter what any of you think or feel in this moment. None of you are capable in any way of moving. Your limbs and bones turn to ice as Amdir walks forward, flanked by the 2 robed creatures, and starts walking away with the flames peeling back as they did before. Calder Cobb gives a smile and a yell, and more Blackwolves pour in around the 2 figures walking away with Amdir between them and charge forward. And as the hooded figures start retreating through the gate, you feel the blood rushing back to your body as the Blackwolves and Calder Cobb charge forward. With a cry, Brackenbrook leaps forward before anyone else. Captain Brackenbrook strikes out for Calder Cobb, who batters him away with a blow from his shield and pierces his breast with a single thrust. The captain falls back. John gives a shout as his father falls. And the final conflict is upon us. So, what stance is everyone in? And I'm going to say I don't think there's any time for volleys here because they're upon you as you start feeling the control of your limbs once again. So what stance are we all in, folks?
I'm forward.
My instinct is, because of the circumstances, I'm in rearward, because that was pretty terrifying.
No, in rearward, you literally can't do anything unless you're...
What's the back of the three?
Defensive.
Melee one. Defensive, that's the one.
Sure. Ingrid?
Forward.
Forward. Well, then that's the same order, so that's a wonderful help to me. Thank you. So you are facing... John is also struggling with some attacks of his own. You are facing Calder Cobb and 3 Black Wolves at the moment. So let's mark those down. And Ingrid, it seems like it's your turn first.
I am going to go for Calder with a hope.
Mm-hmm. Well, he has +1 parry,
Okay.
but no more than that. Don't forget your extra die from forward as well.
Yeah. 16, so it just hits. And the only thing special is I've got 1 Tengwa, so I will go for that heavy blow.
The extra heavy blow. So that's 9, I think we said,
9
isn't it, in total?
yeah.
Well, that is very good. Calder Cobb is kind of looking at the form of Captain Brackenbrook on the ground, who's just kind of still clinging on to his life and kind of reaching out towards Calder Cobb, and with the other hand, like reaching out towards his sword on the ground. Calder Cobb's sickening smirk turns to a look of panic as he sees you running at him. Do you think it's fair to say, have you got any kind of like particular war cry or?
Not even war cry, just a cry, just a scream.
A mindless howl as you charge forward, and you swing down and leave a deep wound across his shoulder. He reels back with a cry of pain and fear and turns to face you with his sword ready. Herb.
I think, inspired by that, I will also follow Ingrid after Calder Cobb. So I'm going to spend a hope.
Sure.
Because I think this is really important. I got a great success. So I got 1 Tengwa, but it wasn't an injury.
Sure, but do you want to use the same heavy blow thing? What is your damage and what is your strength together?
My strength is 3, so my damage is 4. So I could double my damage, I suppose. I will go for that. So I'll try.
So that would be 7 altogether, right?
7 altogether, yeah.
Okay. So Ingrid, you kind of instinctively, even in your raging condition, kind of back away from the sword swipe of Calder Cobb, who leaps forward. The pain and fear on his face turned to a terrible, determined purpose. His lips curled back over his teeth in a rictus of anger, and as he does so, he leaves himself wide open for the strike of Herb Rushlight, who, with a veteran's instinct, seizes opportunity, dashes in with his spear. You thrust out, piercing the heart of Calder Cobb in 1 blow, and he topples over backwards to the ground with a groan. The Black Wolves look shaken, but they're still engaged in the fight. Otho.
I feel like I'm in defensive, but that heartens me somewhat. So I'm trying to distract and draw in as many of the Black Wolves' attention as I can while being defensive. I'm not saying that will succeed with all of them, of course, but I will just go for the nearest
choice taunt.
Exactly. I will be taunting them about how easy their leader was to slay.
Sure.
I will just strike at the nearest one.
Don't forget to remove a die for.
But I'm also going to add a die for my hope that I will spend. So.
Okay.
Back to my normal 3.
coward and a fraud.
Nope, not quite, sadly.
Okay, but your yelling seems to attract the attention, certainly, of at least 2 of the other Black Wolves who start towards you, and they also seem somewhat reluctant to be charging towards Ingrid and Herb, it has to be said. So you definitely draw some attention on you. Winky.
I'm going to prepare a shot.
Seems like a good notion.
And I feel like I should probably use a hope, just to make sure that I actually have a chance of hitting something. So that's a scan roll. Yeah.
The devastation comes when the hope meets your shadow, right?
Yes. All goes. I can't. Yeah, I think it's when it's equal that you become miserable.
So I do make that scan roll, but I don't get any tenguas. So I just get 1 additional dice.
Sure. Which occurs to me, we possibly should have applied some shadow from that moment of dread. In fact, let's do that. And if it means that we should have done something, you should have been miserable to that. That's fine. I'll just. It's fine.
Shadow.
That will be 2 shadow points gained, please.
Does that put anyone over the edge?
I'm disturbingly close. I'm on 5 hope and 4 shadow.
Oh wow! I'm on 7 hope and 4 shadow, and I thought I was close.
Same, 7 and 4.
Yeah. The actual effect of that, by the way, is that if you roll an Eye of Sauron, you will auto fail the roll, no matter what else you roll. But I mean, honestly, that's probably going to be the case anyway. So, yeah. So sorry. In all that talk, Winky, what did you roll for your prepared shot there?
Oh, I got a 17, so I succeeded.
Cool. So you'll get an extra die on your next shot. So there we go. Caldecott is dead, so he ain't going to be doing any rolling. Black Wolves, on the other hand, let's do the 2 that have charged Otho first. Your parry is
19,
and you're in defensive. So the chance of them hitting you is basically, can they roll a special rune? Which, as someone did point out in a comment for the last one, yes, I should be, like, when I say if they roll a Gandalf rune, what I should be doing is to have Gandalf runes for them be Eye of Sauron's and vice versa. But given that I'm rolling off screen and trying to keep this in my head while I run, I'm just doing the same rules for you, because otherwise it's 1 extra thing I have to remember. If I was running it offline for thematic purposes, I would definitely
it's the same effect, because
it's exactly the same mechanically, pardon me. I don't know why I rolled again, because I rolled twice for them. Nowhere near hitting you. Both of them kind of flailing at you with their blades, but getting nowhere near you. As for the final Black Wolves, they are going to charge at Ingrid. Ingrid, what is your parry, please?
16. Though I'm in forward, so I think do they get an extra?
They will get an extra die, but even with that, they rolled miserably. So clearly jarred by the death of their leader, they have no heart for this fight, and their blade also misses you. John at this point is, I'm going to say he's in sort of like a kind of state of kind of near frenzy now. He is also fighting like a small group of Black Wolves by himself. These are the ones kind of focused on you, but he is carving left and right and cutting, has cut at least one of them down already. Ingrid, your turn.
I will take another arching swing at the one who's just tried to attack me. I won't go for any hope this time, I don't think. Will I? No, I won't. Not this one.
It doesn't change the order, but I'm now in forward stance, because I could just change freely.
Yeah, you can change at the beginning of the round, yeah. And we should say it at the beginning of the round.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to make it clear then, yeah.
Cool.
I'm almost certainly going to stay in forward for most of it anyway. I rolled miserably. I got a 1, 1, 2, and a 4, so absolutely not.
That is a miss. Herb, are you going to attack the one on Ingrid, or go for one of the ones on the Hobbit?
I think so far the combination of going for whatever one Ingrid is going for has proved effective.
Has proved very effective, yes.
I will go for that one. Don't make me put you in the ground like your boss, I say in my most intimidating possible voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to, use a hope. Yeah, I succeeded, but I didn't get anything special.
Okay, so that's
damage
just
is 4.
Damage is 4. You leave a horrible stab wound in the back of the one fighting Ingrid, who rounds on you both, sort of snarling and desperately trying to fend you off. Otho, you are in forward now, I believe. So
yep, cool. And I'm also gonna spend a hope. I still have a fair bit up on my thing. Oh, it's a 10 as well.
Ooh.
I got a 10 and a Tengwa, and I definitely passed.
Well, before you go spending those, let me just see if that is a clean insta-kill there for you.
5 damage.
What is the injury on your weapon?
18.
Yeah. One of the two black wolves fighting you gives a kind of loud cry and dashes forwards to try and just kind of bull rush you. You know, this hobbit with an axe can't possibly be holding us off. And as he does so, you just take a moment to think how tall folk really are foolish sometimes before giving a great overhead swing and just burying your axe in the chest of the man who just goes and topples over to the ground. That's one dead. Winky, you have a scanned shot to make.
Indeed. I'm just going to fire this into the horde that's next to Otho, probably.
Sure. That horde is 1 strong now, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fine. Sure.
Yeah.
And shockingly, I make it with... so I don't have anything special on my feat dice, but I do have a Tengwa.
Cool. So, now here's the thing. With heavy blow, is it still your strength if you use heavy blow with a bow? You know what I mean? Should it still be your strength? I don't know.
I think it's still strength because it's the same fighting.
Yeah, it's just because you're drawing it hard, I guess. So
that still takes me to you add that to damage, don't you? So it's 5 total. Yeah.
Yeah, that is decent. The other one, who's kind of looking open-mouthed at what Otho has done to his companion, is very distracted then with an arrow appearing in his upper thigh, which he looks down and goes, yeah. And now we have those 2 black wolves. Let's take the one. One of them is going to strike out against Herb this time. So Herb's in forward. And what's your parry?
It is 16 plus 2, which is 18.
Oh God, what is that? That's an 11. Oh, maths. That is a fail. So the wounded one you're facing, yeah. Do you fight with a shield as well, or have you just got?
Yeah.
Spear and shield. You hoplite the guy, and he his blade smashes against your shield with a resounding. Probably a thud, actually, rather than a clang. I don't imagine you've got a metal shield. And the other one is fighting Otho, who's now in forward, right?
19 target.
And they miss. Flat up miss. So you can see some other black wolves charging over, trying to leap over the fire to get to where you are. They do look... somewhat daunted at the prospect of charging you, and you suspect if you can finish these 2 black wolves quickly, then the others will become disheartened and flee rather than fight you. That's me saying finish them this round or you're going to get more.
Ideal.
How is John doing with his ones?
He's fighting them off. He's kind of engaged in a last desperate battle against one of them who's sort of backpedaling considerably and looking desperate. And Atlee has been fighting some as well, has been mostly engaged with one opponent. He's very tired and wounded, but is still, pardon me, kind of getting the upper hand on them. Ingrid.
The one by me and Herb is still alive, isn't he?
Correct.
I will try again at him. Aha! Excellent. So that's a 10 on the feet die and a Tengua on one of the other die, and it's a 23 total, so definitely a hit.
And what is the injury of your?
The injury is 16.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. This is where it gets weird. They did actually get their armor, but just the raw damage of your strike will kill them anyway. So it's an odd one, but there we go. You the man is clearly desperate, and you simply time your strike right, slice into his side. He gives a grumbling moan and turns to face you again. You step back from his blow and thrust out and catch him in the throat, and he kind of collapses to the ground. He's still alive for now and kind of trying to crawl away, but you don't think he's a valid opponent or long for this earth.
If I had a Tengua, can I use that for a heavy blow to finish him off?
He's dead. I just want to make that sure. He is dead.
Right.
I'm just being flavorful. It's
okay,
fine.
that's fine.
Well, Ingrid is just wanting to smash him.
You can if you want. Yeah, you can if you want. Just thrust to finish him. Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Let's kill him dead.
Yeah.
It might actually be more intimidating watching somebody hack into a man who's clearly like on his last legs.
maybe then the other Black Wolves won't arrive. Even if you know what, I'll let you. Even if there are this other Black Wolf is somehow still alive, I will give you guys an ore roll to just drive them off with fear. How about that? But Herb, first chance at the last Black Wolf.
Yeah, I'll try and take him out quickly, and I will spend a hope, which puts me at 5 over my 4, because this seems pretty important. And I got a success, but it was not like any sort of special success, so it's 4 damage.
4 damage?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, you dash over to the last one facing Otho, who wheels round to defend against your attack, but far too slowly, and falls to the final thrust of your spear. With that, you hear a cry go out near the gate of, "Flee! Flee! They killed Cobb! There's nothing left here!" And as the cry goes up, you hear a ragged cheer from near the gate, where presumably some of the guard and some of the townsfolk are still alive, defending from the main attack. And with that, we will draw a curtain, not on the session, but on this evening, at least. The cost of what the people have undergone is great. But not enough that people don't retreat within the walls and make sure that you all have soft beds to sleep in tonight. And sleep you do all through the rest of the night and into the day, and then into the evening again. You didn't manage to get to sleep until near the dawn was rising anyway, as fires were put out, and the bodies had to be pulled together into the marketplace. But finally you rise the next evening. Night is already on you, and you emerge from one of the buildings that was not burned enough to collapse and is still fairly safe, to find various townsfolk sitting around looking somewhat lost. John is stood over near the remains of the Mad Badger, and aptly Spiderbane is sat on the edge of the still running fountain, binding a wound on his leg.
I will go over to Atlee and sort of, as one veteran of Spider Wars to another, kind of sort of see how he is. You fought bravely, Atlee.
As did you and your friends. I'll be all right. I'd worse.
You put a brave face, but yeah, thanks.
I just don't know what the folk of Archer are going to do. They'll rebuild, I suppose.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like this attack is the last, if we're being honest.
Well, John has some ideas about that. Notions, you might say. He kind of finishes tying a bandage tightly around his ankle and sort of gestures over to him by the Mad Badger and says, I think he's got some ideas with you in mind.
Well, I'd be happy to help. So, anyway.
What are the other three of you doing while this conversation happens?
I imagine maybe Otho has come over a little way into the conversation, just splashing his face with cold water as he wakes up and just hearing the end of that moment.
Mm-hmm. Ingrid, Winky?
Probably with these guys, I think, rather than branching.
Yeah. I'll stick with them as well. And if I hear Atlee suggesting that we go and have a chat with John, I'll just say, I want to help however I can.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go and see the man.
Okay, there you go. You wander over to John, who's kind of picking up the bits and pieces and remains of the Mad Badger. He's looking at a burned shard on the floor that can just be made out as part of the sign. Near him, Celandine and Mundo seem to be kind of like helping where they can to like pull things out of the wreckage and trying to find things that people are looking for. Celandine gives you a kind of one sad smile. Mundo barely seems to notice you at all. As you approach John, he looks up and says, Archit is burned, my father dead, the ranger taken by evil men, if men they can be called. But we owe you thanks. The people of Archit regard you all as heroes, and I agree with them. Without your quick thinking, we would have lost more lives.
We did what anyone would do.
Doesn't feel like enough.
And I think there may be more to do.
Bree
We owe you much. Sorry.
Bree seems to be in danger too. What? This doesn't seem to be calming down. What will you do?
Well, the way I see it, there's more of these Blackwolves out in the Chetwood. They have their plans with these men from the north. These ones from Angmar. That needs to be sorted out. And it occurs to me that you would not wish to leave your friend to torment and death. Therefore, I'd like you to travel and send word from Archit to Combe. There are sheriffs there. They will know what to do. It's good to know that the grim dark growing across the land will have such fierce adversaries as yourselves.
Okay, we will go to Combe, and perhaps afterwards I will be able to get my son from the Chetwood.
I truly hope that that's the case. Lots of these Blackwolves, they're not terrible people. They've just made terrible mistakes and terrible choices. Whatever these men from the north are doing with them, it occurs to me they might not be in their own right minds, but I wish you well finding your son and finding the ranger.
Do we know any more?
Go and ask the sheriffs in Combe. The Blackwolves have been in the Chetwood for years. They'll know where to look.
Okay.
We'll bring back Amdir and my son. We'll bring them both back. Let's go to Combe.
He nods, and you start making your way out of Archit, past John and the remains of the Mad Badger, past the quickly made coffins that are now lining the streets, past the burned remains and the gate, on out into the Vale of Archit, looking behind you at what remains, and then eventually to the gate at the fence of the valley, beyond which is Combe, Chetwood, and the Blackwolves. And that's our story. There we go.
Herb's son, we won't know.
Cliffhangers. Well, maybe we can return to this at some point. Maybe I can just pump Lord of the Rings online for all the story it can possibly give. So that was our the second part of our 2 parts one shot. As was it you, Pierre, who said that? I can't remember who it said that it was the 2-ring 2 shot.
No, that was not me.
Was that not you? I can't remember who that was. Maybe it was
whoever
Chris.
said it. Genius.
That sounds like a Chris thing.
It does sound like a Chris thing. I think it might have been Chris. So if you have any comments or questions in chat, folks, please pop them in there and we will answer them in a second. In the meantime, I'll just get a little bit of promo out of the way. So we have a bunch of links down below to YouTube and Twitch. You're watching on one, please check out the other. There's links to our social media, to our Discord, and to our Patreon, where you can join both of those, although one of them costs money and one doesn't. But yeah, join those and join our community. We'd love to have you with us. We run 3 weekly role-playing series, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, all starting at 8:00 p.m. BST. Mondays is Call of Cthulhu, Tuesdays is Blades in the Dark, and Wednesdays is Simba Room. In addition to that, we run monthly one-shots, of which this was kind of one, a sequel to one. The next one of those is on Saturday, September 11th, and is being run by this reprobate down here, who's going to be running Dungeon World. I think, Holly, you're in that as well, right? Yeah, that's going to be Holly and Chris and John, I think. And yeah, that should be good fun. So please join us for that. If you're interested in any of our other one-shots, we've done Alien and Troika, Mortborg, Expanse, blah, 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 Honey Heist. They're all available in VOD form on our YouTube, so please go check that out. I think that's everything. I think that's all my promo. I'm used to doing more, but we've closed off a couple of things recently. So there we go. I don't think we have anything in chat for us to discuss just yet, although I definitely will. There we go. I'll pop that up. John is definitely playing John Brackenbrook. So there we go.
I was so tempted to be like, we will tell tales of you, John.
It's funny because
maybe that will ruin the whole sort of dramatic.
Maybe that'll completely ruin the vibe. So there we go.
If John was in this story, I feel like that character would be exactly who John would want to play. So
yeah, well, there'd probably be more maths.
I reckon John Brackenbrook's pretty good at maths.
Yeah,
he's a pretty clever guy.
We got Malice. Glad you all returned to this for the conclusion. Very enjoyable story. Thank you, Malice.
Yeah, we enjoyed playing it. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had loads of fun with this, actually. A lot more fun than I think I was expecting. I don't know if that's because the system or because the RPG. No, I was expecting a fun time. That was really good. It's because I was a bit skeptical about how well the game would translate into a role play.
Sure.
That was really good. Like, that was a lot of fun.
It was really enjoyable. Really liked it. Yeah, and the combat seemed to work a lot better for me now that we've got that prepare shot.
I read that. I was double checking the rules today, and I read that and went, Holly needs to know about this.
Yeah.
So we'll go on to kind of just generally having a chat about it in a second. But in the meantime, Steve, how did people find the system and the dice rolling mechanics in particular?
I don't know about everyone else, but I really like the system where you've got a chance to succeed on everything, just based on that Gandalf rune. But then also the Tengwar system with like the heavy blows and whatnot in combat seems to work really well, and it makes combat really snappy, which I quite like.
I really agree. It kind of reminds me a bit of when we played The Expanse, and you've got the I can't remember what they called them now in The Expanse system. There's all those like extra things you could get.
Stunts, yeah. Although a bit less insane, yeah.
Those were a bit much. Like I think they sort of overdid it a little bit, or maybe we just got really lucky and ended up with way too more stunt points than we could spend. It's like
this seems to strike a happy
this feels right, doesn't it? Yeah, I agree. It was really.
I do like basically like if you just roll like you've got a 1 in 10 chance, or actually 1 in 6 chance, right? A 10 or a 12. Like you've got a 1 in 6 chance every time you hit of they'll probably be killed unless they make quite a lucky armor roll for most kind of low level bad guys.
Yeah, because that's a 10 or a 12, correct?
Yeah. And as you say, and more in fact for like. Was it you, Holly, who had the keen thing where it's a 9?
Keen weapon, which means that you've got like a third chance.
If you hit, then you've got a pretty good chance of just downing general mooks. But at the same time, of course, that can just happen to you as well. But you've got that 2. You've got like a 2 wound system. So like if you take 1, you're just wounded, which doesn't actually have any effect on you. If you take another while you're wounded, then you are downed. Not dead, but certainly downed. So. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think I ever really got in danger in terms of like being hit. Like I think I took some endurance in the first game, or it might be I was lower just because we started off lower because we were in the cell. But like certainly like all this session, I didn't lose any.
Weirdly, it feels like the most challenging combat we had was the Wolfmaster and the Wolves, but I think that was just because of bad rolling.
Also, I don't know how it would feel like when you get a bit closer to death, or when you start to load encumbrance.
I think the I don't know if my character just turned out really well or something, but the defensive hobbit seemed to be really effective.
Oh, definitely.
He was quite good at hitting, but also just being able to tank everything was very useful in that.
I think at least part of that is like, obviously, because this is me like pitching this. While I've run One Ring before, the rules are different enough for this that like finding the right challenge balance is slightly wonky. And I think if I was to redo this, I would make it harder to have it feel more like a threat. But
it didn't. Thing I was imagining being kind of difficult was the fact that I saw total party kill as being like a real possibility quite frequently. And I was imagining that it would be very difficult to balance the combat because given the fact that it does have this extra lethality, I can believe it could very easily end up being like, well, one of the enemies gets like a good shot. Like you all miss the enemy and then he gets a really good shot. And then like one of you is taken out and then it like escalates in a really...
Then it snowballs,
I imagine it's got. I don't know. I mean, obviously, this is more of a GM sort of thing rather than a player thing.
But that's something I think the stances counter quite well because if we're all in aggressive stance, but if someone gets hit badly or you're injured badly, then you go into defensive stance, and especially if you have any sort of parry, it's really hard to be hit if you're in defensive stance. And then I guess you won't take them out, but then there's more opportunity for the GM to play with the situation. And you have more options.
Sure. So. Like my response to that is basically the response I give any time people talk about total party kills, which is like it depends on the system and the group. Like sometimes you're like, okay, like if I'm running more Borg and a total party kill is about to happen, I'll probably just let it happen because that's the feel of the system and stuff. But in something like this, if I see it coming and I don't think it makes for an interesting narrative experience, I just fudge it and Deus Ex it ultimately because there we go. Another one from Malice. So when someone's shadow gets too high, what happens to the character? Similar to Symbrum corruption. So when their shadow hits is equal to their hope, they become miserable, which means that they just fail everything anytime they roll a Knife Sauron. When it gets, I can't remember what point it needs to get to. It might just need to fill up and equal your hope. I can't quite remember. But you then lose the character. But also, pardon me, there's certain stages along the way where you gain like shadow corruption and stuff. And that's to do with like your are they called vocations or are they called classes or whatever they're called? So I know, for example, like treasure hunters have one that's called dragon sickness, which is a term from Tolkien where like someone becomes obsessed with a lust for gold and treasure. So there are steps along the way towards that where your character starts to kind of become corrupted and fall into shadow.
And you also suffer like bouts of madness and stuff.
It's the Boromir mechanic, ultimately, which is, and it seems pretty good, but we didn't hit anything near that in this. But obviously, like, you gain more shadow if you yourself do evil things. But obviously, that's not going to happen in this particular story, really. Or I guess they could have made the choice to just, show the black balls. Fuck these guys. But Yeah,
I was thinking Ingrid's stab of the Black Wolf when he was already dead. My part of me was like, I was wondering if you were going to give a shadow point for that.
Because you could interpret that as like giving someone a clean death.
Mercy, yeah. But you were doing it to scare the others, which is a bit more...
Sure.
I think also, I mean, like, have we not watched enough movies? Like, if you think you've killed someone, but you don't see the body dead at the end of it, you can't trust that they're dead. If you're trying to kill someone, you kill them dead.
I like the idea that you just left, that you didn't stab him, you just left him, and then after the credits had rolled, a random Blackwold was just like, Ingrid! And the camera, like, pulls away. So, yeah, there we go.
Potential sequel, you know. That's how it works.
So, to touch on what Sam said, like how we feel about that. Then, obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, who's come to this and watched the entire thing without going back and watching the first one, first off, what are you doing? Secondly, thank you. And thirdly, if anyone doesn't know, this is based on an opening story from Lord of the Rings Online, and by based on, I mean hugely ripped from. I barely changed a thing. I think I gender swapped one character so that it had more women, but I think that was about it. And a lot of the dialogue was taken from it as well. So I think you said last time, I think Pierre may have particularly said that he felt the bones of the MMO on it a little bit, in that like you're being sent to places and whatever. Did that feel less this time or the same, and how much did that affect it? Like Sam, you seem to be pretty impressed with how it came together. But
yeah, I think for me it still felt like that kind of, but it was fun and I didn't mind it. I don't think I really minded it in the last one as such, but this time I thought it was really good. I actively enjoyed it a lot. And I guess if I think back on it at the time, I was like, yeah, we were just kind of, there was always the next objective that was clear to do. I guess because it was a bit more of an urgent situation, though, potentially it was less, oh, that feels a bit silly, and oh, we really do need to do this thing right now. Look at this map. We have to go to there, you know?
Yeah, it's classic video game things of like an area being closed off to you by a burning pile of rubble.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There were a couple of little things, like, you know, when Amdir started to like get up and walk, like my instinct was try and like tackle him, stop him from going, and then obviously you're like, you can't like move, you're still filled with this dread, like you can't even.
Yeah,
like,
but that's very Tolkien-y as well.
Yeah,
it is very Tolkien-y as well.
It's partly because obviously, as you can detect, that's how the video game does it. But also, like it doesn't feel out of place within One Ring, especially with everyone having failed the dread roll. So like I didn't feel too bad about that. I still would have like if one of you had succeeded, I would have let you take actions or whatever, and they probably would have ended up horribly injured. But that's cool. I definitely gave you a bit more leeway in this one and let you bounce around a bit more than like you basically cut out some bits just by like going straight from one thing to another rather than going around the houses, which I thought, it's fine. I didn't want it to feel like constant fetch questing or whatever. But yeah, okay. Well, that seems like a fair success. One thing we're going to do, folks, and we don't know when, but we're going to do another stream for this, and it's going to be all of us playing through this story on Lord of the Rings Online together, which I think we can do. I think you can group up in certain elements of this. There's certainly instanced sections where we'll have to split up. But I think the broad open story, I think you can group up, but I'll have to double check that. But if not, what we'll just do is one of these guys will play through it and the rest of us will watch them doing it. And that'll sort it as well.
If it is sort of a multiplayer experience, how much, like, not for any particular reason, but is it at all possible to like fight the other players in any way?
There isn't PvP there is PvP in Lord of the Rings Online, but it is sectioned off into...
Not that I would do anything like that.
In the general area, no, is the answer to the question. There's specific areas for PvP, and also if you go in there, you have to either take your character in or select to be like an evil, like an orc or a spider or whatever, and then you use them. There is no forces of good on forces of good action in LOTRO. No.
So is this how you get around to the secret reveal that Herb is actually an agent of the Black Walls undercover this whole time?
I mean, it's the natural twist.
Cool. So yeah, we'll do that at some point. We don't know when. We've got a lot on the table at the moment, so it might be a while, but keep your eyes out for it. It'll be something different, right, for our channel. So there we go. So thank you to everyone who watched, whether you did it live or whether you're doing it now via VOD. Thank you to my excellent players for suffering through another session of this. Thank you to John for stream managing the first one, and thank you to Steve for all the excellent assets, which have been really, really, really good. And yeah, we'll catch you soon. We'll catch you this week for more of our regular series, and we'll catch you on September the 11th for Pierre's Dungeon World. It is called Dungeon World, isn't it? For some reason I want to call it Fantasy World. Dungeon World game, and we will see you then. Take care and stay safe, folks. Bye-bye.